with Leon Schreiber. He's the runner of this year's essay competition, the St. Gallen Wings of Excellence Award, and he's a PhD candidate in political science at the Freie Universität in Berlin. So let us talk about your essay a bit. In your essay, you recommend to implement basic income guarantees in some of the world's most impoverished countries. Could you elaborate this a bit more precisely?
Sure. So I think there's already been a movement in the last 2 decades, basically, to extend these kind of social protection programs in many countries of the developing world where they never existed before. So examples include Brazil, South Africa, Mexico, Chile. Lots of middle-income countries basically have implemented welfare programs that are starting to offer support to some of their most impoverished citizens. What's also happened during that same time is kind of a ideational shift in terms of how we view poverty eradication, and specifically how developing countries themselves view poverty eradication. And this has put the idea of a basic income guarantee squarely on the agenda in these countries as well, where the basic premise is people are poor because they don't have enough money. And for a long time we've used the Washington Consensus and structural adjustment type approaches to try and fix the underlying problems of underdevelopment. But what that has been lacking, even though it's very important to build schools and roads and all these type of infrastructure type things, has been the fact that when people don't have enough money for food or shelter for their family, and they don't have any kind of social security to know that there will be food tomorrow, it's very hard to convince a mother to go to a training session if she knows her children don't have food that day. So the basic idea is we're talking small transfer payments, $10 a month per person in countries that really where that means a lot. And so the idea would be that if you have enough security, social security, to be able to afford food, basic things for your family, that would be a way of enabling you to actually take advantages of those other development projects as well.
And what are the main advantages, apart from what you've mentioned already?
Of the basic income, right? Well, I think, like I said, the main advantage is the fact that this enables people to become also wealth creators in a way, because a lot of these pilot projects have shown that, and there have been many pilot projects carried out around the world in many different contexts, and what they all show is that once people have this basic level of security, you can then use that money in very rudimentary ways to buy chickens, which is an example from the research, that you buy chickens and you start breeding with chickens, and later on you start selling that. You become a small business person because you know that you have enough security that you can actually invest a little bit. And we're talking small amounts here. So I think the main idea, of course, is that it combats poverty, it reduces inequality, but at the same time, it enables you to feel secure in both psychologically and financially a little bit, so that you can start on that path towards development as well.
So what do you tell people who say that this program encourages laziness?
Well, what I would say honestly is go and take a look at the literature. There have been truly an extraordinary amount of studies into this, because also it has become such a big deal in many developing countries. So there are so many studies that have looked at this over and over again in different contexts, and it's pretty safe to say that they all agree that the idea that people who have nothing become lazy when you give them a little something is not borne out in reality. And in fact, I would argue the opposite of that idea, that once people have that basic security, you enable them to take advantage of other opportunities and to start thinking, okay, now I care about education because now I can focus on these things because I have just enough to survive. That would be my response.
Thank you very much. It was really interesting essay.
Great. Thank you guys very much.